That is weird. I'm not used to doing videos, let alone staring at my own eyes when I'm trying to talk. It messes with my mind. I'm trying to. So I might look this way, like I'm talking to the mountains, more comfortable. I am starting to answer the inside call to do things that are not part of my IQ, that coming from a place that I didn't even know existed, that I could say I recently discovered, but it kind of discovered me. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Doesn't matter how it works. It's perfect that it works. Um, but some people, I've started sharing words in writing, right? Because it's easier to sit and write. Um, but I feel like I lose something in the translation. And I think that there are some people out there. I've got some messages that said, "Hey, I can tell they're intrigued." And quite honestly, I am intrigued. I am nobody special. I'm the furthest thing from somebody special. And that leads me to something. Let me say this. Um, there are some just extremely mystical, unimaginable things that have happened to me in the last several months um, that have transformed my life in ways that just don't make any sense in some ways, but make all the sense in the world in other ways. And I want to share the journey. And it's not even, I don't even so as I want to. In fact, I've kind of been fighting this. It's been quite the little experience. But deep inside of the most intimate space in this soul, there is a voice that tells me I need to do this. So I'm doing this. It's a step of faith. It is outside of my comfort zone. It is surely not my thing. Um, so let me just say this. In the middle of 2024, a 46-year-old guy by the name of Mark Gibson, all my friends call me Gibbo, uh, so I might refer to myself in the third person as Gibbo every once in a while. Gibbo was a 46-year-old guy that I think, like most humans, like I tried to be a kind human being. I never intentionally wanted to hurt somebody. I picked up bad habits along the way in my life. I dabbled in religion. I dabbled outside of religion. I danced on a lot of different dance floors in life that um, at the time I shouldn't have, right? Like that you just know what you know in the moments that you know what you know um, until you know better. So for me, it was 46 years of things, and I really just thought life would just do its thing. It would end. I always, I grew up in a particular religion that, obviously, like most do, talked about a heaven and a hell and sin and all those things. But quite early on, just the sin concept weighed on me too heavy. We make mistakes in life and it should just be mistakes, right? It's just living. But I think religion can sometimes calcify a mistake. It lands in this sin zone, and sin has a weight to it. And over time, those weights stack up internally, and you never quite feel worthy of the carrot that's stuck in front of you in religion at times. You know, all religion, I've discovered, it's just like that. But for me, a lot of those weights just kind of stacked up, and over the course of decades, right? And then things happen, choices you make that fracture human beings, right? Like you realize that there's a true cause and effect to actions that we take, to words that come out of our mouth. Um, all of this stuff exists, right? Um, but sometimes you're just not aware of it. So I really got into a depressed phase. Quite significant actually, especially when COVID hit. Knocked, not saying just COVID, but my own choices and stuff. I had a little business that had been going for several years, and I just got crushed financially and felt like quite a failure. Um, and I found myself in a really dark space inside. However, no one would have known that. I like just for whatever reason, the way that I was formed in life, I think people were born. We're born into a family that we don't have any control over. We're born into, they live in a town that we didn't get to pick, in a religion we didn't get to pick, in a school system we don't get to pick, and ultimately into, you kind of fall into this inherited lineage of ideology that your people around you have, and it's pretty natural. Birds of a feather, you just kind of blend into that environment, and it kind of becomes you, right? So we all kind of get put in a pre-packaged box, even though we're living in that box. Um, so for me, it was quite interesting because I didn't even know I was in a box. I guess really, I just knew I wasn't in a good place, and I just knew that I wanted to get out of that place. The way I wanted to get out of the place, not necessarily the best way, and there was because the identity of Marcus Welby here that was created, that ego was really really neat, right? Because if right here, like I'm on the inside of me and I'm looking from this view, looking to the outside of me, I was fully aware of what people seen here, right? It was what I let them see, this identity in front of me, this ego, which was a pretty bubbly person, a people person. I love laughter. I would never want my inner problems to trickle into someone else's life, so I owned them. I wouldn't want to have an impact on somebody that took away from their joy or their happiness, because I really love laughter. I love happiness. Um, I think it's always known, it's uber important to be on the positive side of things, not negative. Doesn't mean it, you know, but that formed an identity, right? The problem is back here behind that identity, in the guts of who I am, this dark place just swelled up there over the course of years, and I didn't even know it. It snuck up on me, and then the catalyst just took place. I think COVID was that catalyst, to be honest with you. Yeah, just life choices, COVID, financial struggles. I spent my whole life trying to build things, wanting to build, like it was this money, material. Like, not that I was a greedy, selfish guy, but I felt like I need to amass money. I need to amass material things, like an empire. I just want to be successful. I wanted a little star, like a little 5-star award for life in general. And I just never could do it. Like I just self-sabotaged all the time. And man, it just brought me to a point one time where I realized in my mind, through my thought process, I stepped over a certain invisible line that I knew that I had a problem. Um, Always had a very addictive personality, and I traumatized myself. Man, this is really self-reflective. Like that, I've done a lot of self-reflection, but just talking about this to knowing someone's going to see it is quite bizarre. Um, anyway, I knew I needed to do something because I didn't want to do what my mind was telling me to do, was giving me options and letting me think through things. And I'm like, oh, it's a problem. Recognized it as a problem. Luckily, I had enough smarts to see that is a problem type of thinking. Um, so I just started doing stuff I'd never done before. I researched setting intentions, meditation. A prayer to me was pretty traditional. I haven't opened a Bible in decades. I just, I went with the flow with people I love, but God never talked to me. I don't know. I never was aware of God. I guess I processed that there can't be just this life. Seemed like there was too much design in things. I'd watch atheist videos, when very high intellect folks would talk about atheism. And I thought, man, they're really smart. That makes sense. That makes sense. But we get to the end of a video and it's like, there's something. There's got to be something. Like, the rest doesn't make sense. And but that was my life. I mean, if you were to say, like, even some people may be shocked because I'm sure that this ego out here presented something different, but on the inside, like, genuinely being honest about how I felt deep down, it was just a little cheesy. Not cheesy, but like the people like stand on the corners, Jesus saves, you need Jesus. Like, there was always a turnoff to me. Um, Like I just felt like it was an intrusion into a life, but I also respected people that were respectable about it, right? Like I don't no issues, and I believed that Jesus lived, and I believed in a God. Like, but I just it was like, if it's there, it's there. It's not in this life. It doesn't matter as much, but the next life, okay. Well, we'll see what happens. And I just, if you were to describe the faith of a mustard seed, I think the good book talks about, um, it wasn't that much faith. It was just okay. So anyway, that's I just trying to set a stage for where I was.